So, Richard, there's been quite a significant movement on the story of the two sort of associates of the Lyons family who were murdered in Fuengirola at the end of May. While Scottish police were saying there was no intelligence that this was feud related, the Spanish have come out and said something completely different.
It's really, really strange one. You've got completely contrasting statements from the Spanish police, and then yesterday evening, Police Scotland put out a release which completely contradicted what the Spanish said. I don't really think I've come across anything like this.
No, it's incredible because the Spanish police actually gave a bit of detail as well about how the suspect had shaved himself, had flown in and out of the country and moved around. I mean, a very detailed statement, and it's just a bizarre situation.
Well, here, hold on for a second, because let's all three of us as sort of, well, we call ourselves veteran crime reporters, okay? We're from different parts of the world as such, but, you know, our careers collide a lot between Irish and Scottish criminals. So let's put our logical hats on. And what do we think has happened here? Do we think a random hitman has shown up in Spain and targeted two key members of the Lyons family? Or do we think this is something to do with a feud that has gone on really for about 25 years?
Looking at it, I would say I don't think it's connected directly to the feud that has been happening in Scotland in the past few months. I think what may have happened is that one of the individuals who has been repeatedly targeted in that feud has decided enough is enough and I'm going to do something about it. But the Spanish version that the actual hitman was I think he described himself as an integral member of the Daniel family. Mm-hmm. I and a lot of others find that hard to believe. It doesn't fit in with the narrative as far as I can see, Nicola.
Explain that a little bit further for us, Richard.
Well, it's just that the Daniel, for the past probably 3 or 4 years, have been pretty much on the back foot where it comes to the feud with the Lyons. This has intensified in the last 2 or 3 months. And also I've been speaking to people down Liverpool, various people around Merseyside, and the individual who was arrested by Merseyside police last Friday and has subsequently appeared in court on an extradition proceeding. Very, very little is known about this individual, and he doesn't fit the profile of someone who is able to carry out such a professional hit. This guy was in and out there in 25 seconds. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. The guy, from all accounts, is a bit of a loose cannon and somebody who you wouldn't ask to go to the shops for a loaf of bread, let alone take out two major players of a criminal cartel.
Now, we've had over the years, we've had some funny statements from the Spanish police ourselves. One that always rings to mind will be when John Gilligan, a very notorious cannabis dealer and veteran criminal, and he was arrested and a gun was found in his home. And Spanish police put out a statement saying it was likely or could easily be the weapon used to murder Veronica Guerin almost 30 years earlier.
And like the thing about that, Richard, is all the police that we would have known here were going, there was no way John Gilligan's going to hang on to that. John Gilligan was put on trial for the murder of Veronica Guerin, but was acquitted of that, and he was jailed on a very hefty, drug sentence, one of the longest ever. He's a very notorious kind of criminal, and he has always been very vocal and said there's no way he had anything to do with Veronica Guerin's murder. That murder was so significant here, it led to the establishment of the Criminal Assets Bureau, etc., etc. The idea that I spoke about us putting on our logical hats, because the logic of that he would have kept a gun like that with him, that could have ever linked him to that murder. It was illogical. And remember when Jerry the Monk Hutch was arrested in in Lanzarote, just before he had he was to announce that he was running for general election here, he was arrested, and a statement came through from Spain, from official channels, that he was suspected of being involved in people trafficking, which we had a conversation about and thought, well, whatever else he was suspected of being involved in, that just didn't fit. And sure enough, the charges and the investigation was actually money laundering, which is a completely different thing. So they do tend to be kind of
gung-ho with the press statements.
Yeah.
And that's what it feels like to you.
Yeah, very, very much so. Because, like yourselves, a major crime occurs, you get a phone call, you get some information. For example, when Olivia Pratt-Corbell was shot dead in Liverpool a couple of years ago, myself and probably half a dozen other people very, very quickly had been given the name Tommy Cashman. Now, Cashman, whilst he hadn't been convicted previously of such a serious offence, his name was always there and thereabout with serious and organised crime. So it didn't come as a surprise when his name was thrown into the public domain as such. This guy, no one knows anything about him. Somebody said to me that they don't even know he's even been in Scotland in his lifetime.
Now, in defence of the Spanish police, who I've no interest in particularly defending, but it can be sometimes complex, can't it? Because we can say somebody, and we've spoken about this ourselves, he's a member of the Kinahan cartel, and, he can be described as such, but there can be all these cells within gangs, or, it's not always as straightforward as you don't sign up a membership form, for example.
And also in our own experience of the last, many years since the Kinahan and Hutch feud has broken out here, there have been some unknown characters that have come to light who were involved and who were employed in high-end organised crime that we'd never come across before, or you wouldn't have certainly thought they were.
Yeah, but of course.
Anyway, this guy is no doubt going to fight this extradition, and no doubt he's going to be pleading not guilty in relation to whatever charges may be brought against him. So I suppose what's more clear cut is the victims, Richard, in this shooting. And they clearly are Eddie Lyons Jr. from Glasgow and Ross Monaghan. They are well-known members of the Lyons grouping.
Yeah, the very, very high-ranking, obviously Lyons through his family name. But Ross Monaghan, very, very good friend of Stephen Lyons, who is the head of the family. As I said to Niall a couple of weeks ago, I've heard 2 or 3 people say to me that possibly Eddie Lyons Jr. was just collateral damage. The target was Monaghan. Everyone seems to indicate that Monaghan was the main target, and it was just simply a fact he was with Eddie Lyons Jr. at the time that Eddie Lyons Jr. ended up being shot dead.
I suppose Ross Monaghan, maybe, firstly, no relation to Monaghan's bar where this shooting occurred?
Well, it depends. At the outset, people were saying it was actually his bar. But talking to people here, I've also heard that actually it's just a coincidence. But whatever is the truth, the signs have been taken down since the shooting.
Okay.
Monaghan's signage has been removed, and it's just an Irish bar.
And of course, that was described as an Irish bar. And again, you see this sort of connection really between Scottish criminals and Irish. The Lyons grouping have been linked to the Kinahan cartel, which would give them, or certainly has in recent past, a lot of power.
Yeah, this is one of the reasons why the Daniels been on the back foot, because of the links, particularly that Stephen Lyons and Ross Monaghan, they have made with the Kinahans and their cohorts. And apparently both Stephen Lyons and Ross Monaghan got on very well with some of these individuals. So to have that backing, the Daniels realised quite quickly that they're on the back foot here.
And I suppose to wrap this up for the moment, because we were just really doing a quick update on what's happened. The Spanish police are saying one thing, the Scottish police are saying something different, and there's a suspect in custody who is facing extradition now to Spain. But in the meantime, we are going to speak to you at length about the history of this feud, the two families, and what has gone on over the decades. And we'll be broadcasting that over the coming days. But for now, Richard, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm Nicola Tallant, and you're watching Crime World, a podcast about criminals, drugs, and the underworld in Ireland and across the globe. Make sure you subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you can be the first to watch all our latest episodes. You can also listen wherever you get your podcasts.